Hi everybody, Martyn at Flicking Feathers again today. I'm tying the Big Ugly. It's a very simple but effective flash fly, originally designed for bonefish, but you'll catch a lot of other species in this if you use it for them, you know. Triggers will eat it, various trevally species, anything that eats a shrimp really probably will have a go at this. As always, I'll put a materials list in the description, along with a link to the Patreon page for anybody who wants to support the channel, get access to the monthly online fly tying sessions, and enter the giveaways. You can also just subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notified of the new videos. That's all appreciated. So I've got my hook and my vise. This is size 2 Gamakatsu SL11 3H, and I've run on some Danville's 140 denier in fluorescent pink, the gotcha pink really. And then I'm just going to attach my weight here, which is medium lead dumbbells in this case, although you can tie this fly lighter. I've got it here with the large bead chain. With the bead chain in the wing, it's just enough to turn the hook so it fishes hook point up plus skinny water. But you can also, you can also actually fish this off the bottom. Again, if you're targeting another species, it's not a bonefish really. Mid-water shrimp, swimming shrimp. So I'm just going to check that I get this sitting, these eyes sitting how I want, and then I'll take my consolidating wraps. So under the hook and over the eye, and then under the eye but over the hook, and that tightens everything up. And as I like to do, I'll give a final check, and I'll come down the shank, and then I'll just take a few more figure eights, and then same again, under the shank and over the eye, then over the shank and under the eye. And that really tightens it up. That extra run down the shank gives you so much more thread torque and grip. It really stabilises your eyes. And you can use super glue, but super glue is no saltwater safe, and as much as like the salt water will cause it to crack or harden or perish or rehydrate depending on which kind it is, and then it'll become ineffective. Right? Don't rely too heavily. If you rely too heavily in that and you don't, in the super glue, and you don't tie your eyes in properly, nice and tightly, they'll still spin. If you tie them in tight, you don't need the glue. Right, tail is just tan craft fur. Got a bunch here. I clean all the under fur out it, and then make sure this stuff's actually no bad. Make sure that it's got a nice taper, but it's not too long and quite thick. Right, so I'm going to tie this in. Say there's a hook length, a couple of hook lengths. You can make it a bit shorter if you prefer, or a bit longer. And then trim away my waist just behind the dumbbell eyes. And I'm just going to take my thread forward, tying this in, building a nice underbody. Right, you often see guys tying saltwater flies and they'll cut the trap, they'll have a wee bump. They'll cut the waist of the craft fur or whatever, and there's no need to do that. You'll get a much better underbody, you'll have a tougher fly, it's much harder to pull this out. And just secure it. I'm going to bar the tail, and I like 4 4 bars along the tail. It's fine for me. That one could have a bit more on your side. Yeah. And then the body is just cactus, chenille and root beer. But you can, I mean, adjust the colour. You can match, I mean, alright, tans and light browns and root beer and all that. It's going to cover most locations, but maybe you want you could tie an olive version as well, depending where you're going to fish the fly. So I'm just going to wrap this forward and tie it up there. Make sure you get your first turn on nice and tight, and I'm going to sweep it back between every turn. I'm just winding it forward. I'm not too fussed about having the turns of chenille really densely packed. I don't mind actually if there's a wee bit of pink showing through. That's fine. When you get to the back of the dumbbells, catch it off. Trim away the waste. You can see there I've got this, I just keep it in the bag there. It's a nice way to keep the cactus chenille controlled. Just make sure that's locked in. Come to the front. Just tidy up any rubbish there. Now I'll invert it. And I'll grab my craft fur again. Get another bunch. Same as before, just take all the rubbish out the bottom. I mean, the under fur actually of craft fur is really nice dubbing for bonefish flies and that. And it sinks as well, it's non-buoyant, which is good for your flats flies. So I'm just, this stuff's needing a wee bit of a help, this part, just to get it into the shape I want. I still want a taper, but I don't want it too long and wispy. I want a reasonable chunk. And I'm going to tie this in so it comes sort of halfway back into the tail. Just offer it on top. I'll just wrap 2 or 3 turns, just grab the butts and pull them up. And that looks okay. Take a couple of consolidating turns. Trim it off. And then I'll just come to the front and work back. I'll come tie that right back. I want quite a long nose. And your fly's done, more or less. I'm going to put a weed guard on this, but if you're fishing somewhere that you're confident you don't need a weed guard, don't put it on if you don't want one. But I always think it's better to add it and then you can cut it off in the water if you feel it's causing you trouble or you don't need it. But coral and all that, I like to be sure that I'm not getting hung up too much. So I've got a length of, this is, well, it's a real hard mono, but any hard mono, about 16 pounds, 20 pounds. Make a wee loop, and I just offer it up behind the eye, take 3 turns with the loop pointing back and the tag ends, and then lift this and take 3 turns behind the loop and in front of the tag ends, and you just pull it down and you can see how you're sitting. If you need to, you can figure 8 through them. I don't think I need to there, but I will build up a wee bit behind just to make sure they're stood up, and then I can whip finish. And again. Trim the thread, push these back, trim them just longer than the hook point. And shoot. Then a bit of varnish. Coat all your thread wraps that are exposed. Just protects them. Again, makes the fly last longer. You can catch plenty of fish on it. And there you go. That's the Big Ugly. It's a simple fly to tie. Well worth having in your box, as I say, not just for bonefish. Keep them big. I think of this as a sort of fly when you need a bigger pattern. As I say, well worth tying. So I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up below and subscribe to my channel. Tight lines, guys. Bye.